But what actually happens to these rappers' money? Because some of them go on to be worth hundreds of millions later down the line. Where does it all go? Who does it go to? And where does it end up? It's hard to believe, but Tupac never saw any real wealth during his life. Despite selling millions of records and starring in films, he died broke and in debt on September 13th, 1996 at the age of 25, and he left no will.
Where did the money go? We got another one from Festify, and shout out to Festify every single time. He's always giving us quality content. I believe this one's talking about the fact that a lot of our stars, they make a lot of money, but for some reason, they're never ever able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. So we're actually going to dive into that. I'm going to give my take, and also by the end of the video, a few ways in which you as a creative, you can actually avoid this. So let's get into it, man.
The brutal reality of rappers' career is that a lot of them made the most amount of money after they passed away. We've got a few different examples in this video, but what actually happens to these rappers' money? Because some of them go on to be worth hundreds of millions later down the line. Where does it all go? Who does it go to? And where does it end up? It's hard to believe, but Tupac never saw any real wealth during his life. Despite selling millions of records and starring in films, he died broke and in debt on September 13th, 1996 at the age of 25, and he left no will. Early in his career, he started as a roadie and backup dancer for Digital Underground. His debut solo album, Tupacalypse, in 1991 sold modestly. Earnings were low, mostly from touring and small advances.
I like the money. I don't care who pays me. More money, more money, more money. That's all I'm trying to say.
But his next project, Me Against the World in 1995, went double platinum. While in prison on a sexual assault conviction, he signed a 3-album deal with Death Row Records. Suge Knight posted his $1.5 million bail, and Tupac received a $2 million advance, but spent it on jewelry, cars, and helping family. And
that's it. The answer, short and simple, besides obviously the fact that, you know, they get taken advantage of and things like that, is because we're spending it in the wrong places. Every single time that I meet an artist, I have a conversation with an artist, what's the first decision that majority of them actually do? Is, okay, as soon as I make some money, I'm going to go spend it on some materialistic stuff, you know? It's even to a point where when you're actually looking at some of financial advisors and what they actually have to say, they talk about the fact that majority of black people's wealth is always in materialistic wealth. It's not in the invisible wealth that you actually can't see. And when you read books like, for example, The Psychology of Money, I know a lot of us, we don't read, etc. But when you read books like Psychology of Money, you start to realize that true wealth is actually hidden. But let me even show you guys what I mean when the guy actually says that and the different type of wealth you can actually establish for yourself before we carry on this video. And before we get into the clip, for my American audience, always remember whatever happens in America usually happens over here and vice versa, because we correlate. We're in the first world countries, you know. So let's hear it.
Look at the black community in the UK. We find that we not only have the lowest level of wealth, but that the wealth we do have is primarily concentrated in physical assets. So that's the watches, the cars, the clothing, the possessions in your home. Why do you think that is?
The big elephant in the room. We are consumers, and communities outside our community study us, study our spending patterns, and then build businesses around it from your...
As simple as that. You know, we consume too much, and by the fact of consuming, that is the reason as to why, for example, a lot of our money, the first thing we're spending it on, I've even mentioned it multiple times in this channel, we're literally getting the bag and blowing it. We're getting a watch, we're getting some jewels, we're getting a car, we're getting some garms, we're spending it on women, we're doing all sorts of things. And in doing that, of course, it's fun in the short term, but when you get to a point where you've gone from, I don't know, 0 to high 5 figures or even 6 figures, and then you're going back to 0, I've done that before. It hurts, bro. It hurts. Do you know what I mean? When you're going from 0 all the way to 7 figures, I haven't hit 7 figures yet, God willing soon, or 8 figures or 9 figures, someone like Tupac, he got a 2 million in advance. What did he do? Automatic thing is you spend it on materialistic wealth. And those material wealth is not tangible. It's not actually valuable in the long term. You can't actually make a compound on it unless you're doing a long-term play like real estate. And even in real estate, I can even make a video about it because, again, I've been in real estate. I understand the entire game, not to an expert level degree, but to a very, very good degree. And I've made a lot of people money in real estate as well. And I always say that real estate, in my opinion, unless you're looking at Airbnbs, is a long-term play, bro. It's after you've made enough cash flow and you have wealth that you don't even know where to put it, you then put it into real estate. You're probably not even going to see the return on your investment. Your grandchildren may. You know what I mean? Your children, depending on how, obviously, and wherever you play the position that you buy your real estate, they're probably going to see a return. But it's your grandchildren. As long as they keep that real estate, then, for example, the rental yield on that, the the long-term play over that, how the asset actually accumulates and things like that, those are the type of plays you actually want to make. Unless, again, you're going in a short-term flipping mindset, which is an aggressive investor, and you actually have to dedicate your time to things like real estate. Do you know what I mean? In order for you to actually achieve that. So, back to the point. We spend too much, bro. We're consumers, you know what I mean? Like, the first thing we're thinking is, how can I consume? How can I consume? How can I consume? And this is how we've been taught. Do you know what I mean? A lot of rappers, for example, let's be real, would they even be taken seriously if they didn't even do this and get the jewels and Chanel and stuff like that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy, bro. But yeah, before we even get back into the video, make sure to like, make sure to comment your thoughts as well. Let me know what you guys think, whether anything I've said is accurate, whether you agree, how we can actually solve this issue, and also how the next generation can prevent this from actually being the case. Because I have a solution towards the end of the video. But let's get back into it.
Of course, legal fees and the lifestyle drained most of it. In his death year, it said that his personal net worth was $200,000 and he had around $105,000 in his bank account. His assets were 2 cars and $200,000 in life insurance left to his half sister. He had debts of $4.9 million, most of these had death row records for advances, car leases and productions. All Eyes on Me in 1996 sold over 5 million copies and generated $60 million in revenue, but Tupac saw little of it due to his deal, a 12% royalty rate, and spend it. After his death, his estate value was 5 to 10 million, and Afeni Shakur, Tupac's mother, became an administrator.
Afeni, this is no joke. They're gonna come after you. They're gonna come after his music. You need to get lawyers that know how to deal with estates, and you need an accountant that can account for his money.
Afeni formed a legal team to dig into Tupac's finances. She was in for a shock.
Sued Death Row Records for unpaid royalties and won $2 million from Interscope and ownership of 150 unreleased masters, and the royalty rate is increased to 18%. Post his death, his album Are You Down went 4x platinum. Between 2000 and 2010, he sold over 75 million albums worldwide. He went on the Forbes in 2008, and Afeni founded Amore Entertainment in 1997 to control unreleased music, and the Tupac Amore Shakur Foundation for Youth Arts and Program. If things ever go wrong, it goes to show your mother is the one who's got you. She had to flip this all around. Like I said, he died broke.
Big shout out to Mumsy, man. Big shout out to Mumsy. And that's why they always say that, for example, the biggest people to actually have your back is obviously number one, your mum, and then number two is usually your missus, obviously, if you find a good woman. Whoever finds a good woman finds a good thing, you know what I mean? But we won't get into that. But it just goes to show you, like, no one cares about you and your paper. No one cares about your business. No one cares about anything you have going on as long as they're able to basically eat from you. Do you get what I'm saying? So until we start getting the motion of actually standing on business, creating cash flow businesses, and doing everything in our power to actually make sure that we're on top of all this stuff, then, bro, we're going to keep on going through these cycles. Do you know what I mean? So it's crazy.
Tupac was broke.
He didn't have investments. He didn't have stocks. He didn't have bonds. He didn't have bank accounts. He had some cars. He had some jewelry, things of that nature.
He was young the way he had his money. Really rich people don't show their money like that. They don't wear $1 million. They have $1 million in the bank.
You got to remember, Tupac died at just 25 years old, and it's what made him so relatable throughout his career. He never got super wealthy and changed up. He was starting to get some money and spend it fast, and then before you know it, his life was taken.
You understand me? I'm not gonna change just because motherfuckers got money. God damn, I'm gonna go through my hardships just like the next man. I'm 21 years old, and God help me make another day. But I'm gonna go through it my way. I'm not finna act all.
And that's the thing, man. Us youngins, bro, is because we're not put on game from, you know, the older generation. And the older generation, let's be real, they don't know anything either, bro. When I have conversations with some older lot, no disrespect, no shot, in case anyone watches this video, but they don't know what they're talking about, bro. They don't. Like, the thing that they're teaching us is exactly what us, man, basically follow, which is as soon as you get a bag, there are 3 places you basically spend it: on cars, on clothes / jewels, and on holes. That's what they literally, these are words that I've heard directly from horses' mouths. You know what I mean? So it's craziness, man. And the more we indulge in this, is the more that obviously other communities, that's what the guy was saying in the previous video, other communities literally study our culture, and from studying the culture, they're able to create mad businesses from it. Do you know what I mean? I believe in America has like the black people have like $2, if not $3 trillion spending power. Do you know how crazy that is? Let me even show you guys a statistic, bro. Yeah, so in 2024, it was 1.8 trillion. By the end of this year, it's going to be 2.1 trillion. Do you get what I'm saying? So we're very, very powerful, you know, in terms of the amount of buying power that we have. And even despite, again, the hardships that we go through and things like that, it's crazy. But in reality, we got the peas, you know what I mean? But when we now ask the question of how long can the peas even stay within our community, it's a whole different argument, you know what I mean? I believe they say that it's within our community that it stays the least. I believe it's a couple minutes, if not a couple hours, whereas you got other communities where it stays in their community for at least a couple years or etc. Do you know what I mean? We don't circulate money for our community. We don't have the infrastructure to do so, and no one wants to actually take the bite or the bullet, or bite the bullet rather, to actually go and actually get it and actually do the thing. You know what I mean? And anyone that's done it in the past, unfortunately, it's either it's been destroyed. Again, I've done a video, you know, on this channel where I was talking about how, you know, I believe Myron Gaines, right, the Fresh and Fit guy, he was talking about how black people need to take more accountability for whatever they've gone through and blah, blah, blah. But even though I do agree with what he said, we can't discount what's actually happened in the past and all the things that we've kind of gone through that's led us here, you know, the hardships that we've gone through and the fact that we keep on overcoming, etc. But there's a reason as to why the community is a certain type of way, because we've been programmed for years and years and years and years and years to be this type of way. Do you get what I'm saying? Outside of that, another thing is that if someone tries, let's say someone wakes up and decides, okay, you know what, I'm actually going to try, I'm actually going to do my thing, etc., then unfortunately it's going to be their own people to go and get them. Look at Nipsey Hussle, for example. Rest in peace. Do you get it? He said, you know what, I'm going to make my millions, and guess what? Guess where I'm going to basically put those millions? Back in the community, back with my people, etc. And then guess what the people did? You know what I mean? It's crazy works. It's crazy works. It is crazy works. For my people, them, I'm going to leave the link down below. In terms of, for example, simple solutions that I believe that we can definitely utilize, right? Is as simple as understanding cash flow businesses and actually creating cash flow businesses for ourselves. I've seen time and time again entertainers, even this morning when I was scrolling on TikTok and scrolling on IG, I saw how, I think it's a trend right now. Like, I might, you know what, even before I even get into the thing, let me even show you guys the trend that's going on right now, because it's actually ridiculous in my opinion. And I won't play the music simply because I don't want to get copyright, you know, but look at it. No one talks about how hard it is going from this to this, where he has to get a job and basically go back to square one. And again, it's not to knock things like this, because at the end of the day, it happens to everyone. Everyone goes through things. Everyone actually has highs and lows within their life, etc. But it's all about understanding that, look, if it's happened to people in the past, how can we basically prevent it from happening to us? And how can we make sure that even if it's happened to us, we can basically overcome it as quick and as soon as possible? So I think the solution is pretty simple. It's not necessarily easy, but it is simple. The solution comes down to, number one, understanding financial literacy. No one taught us that in the community, so guess what? We're going to have to actually teach ourselves. The amount of time that I spend watching YouTube videos, investing into books, investing into mentorship based on financial literacy is ridiculous, right? It's about understanding that, okay, cool, on the different levels of finance, etc., from you to get from 0 to 6 figures is going to require a complete different mindset and skill set from you going from 6 to 7, then 7 to 8, then 8 to 9. Do you know what I mean? Majority of us, if we're to even get to 6 figures, a lot of us will be happy. Do you know what I mean? So my aim is just to basically help people get to 6 figures, and then, bro, we're good to go. In saying that, right, that leads us to number 2. Is about understanding what type of things is required to actually get there. And it comes down to cash flow. How can we cash flow? It's by creating businesses, right, that monetize either our skill sets or something that we know. And basically, there's different ways to basically go about it. Some people go the traditional route of, okay, cool. If I know about a skill or I know about something, let me get a job in this department. But I believe it's all about creating businesses around this. For example, the guy's a drummer. Why don't you start teaching people, a specific type of person, how to actually drum and actually use their drumming as a creativity or a creative outlet, for example, and actually, use it as not necessarily as like becoming a profession, but actually using it as like a vice or something like that. You know how, for example, people pick up a guitar, right? People that are not going to be on tour, not etc., but they don't mind investing a lot of money into learning the guitar simply because that's their hobby. Do you know what I mean? You start catering your services to people that are willing to actually pay the amount of money required to actually get access to you in regards to that. We call that high ticket, right? Once we start a high ticket cash flow business, then it's about understanding number 3, where to actually put that. Number 1 is about reinvesting into your business again. As aggressively as possible, you need to grow that into a cash cow. Number 2, you then start to have like an emergency fund, just making sure that just in case things hit the fan from 6 to around 12 months, you're good to go. After that, that's when you start looking at, okay, how can I start investing into assets? Your assets need to pay for your liabilities, bro. Don't go and buy a chain. Don't go and buy a crazy car. Don't go and buy crazy guns and that. Of course, look presentable, this and that. But you need to invest into different things. So majority of your wealth, for example, put it into things like stocks, put into things like, especially dividend stocks, because obviously they pay, etc. Right? Put it into, if you want, you can put it into an Airbnb or something like that, which again is cash flow. If you want to play a long-term game, me personally, I'm always striving for cash flow, so that's the reason why I said Airbnb rather than obviously buy it. But if you want to purchase or do a flip or whatever, obviously get someone that's experienced in that area to basically assist you in regards to doing that. Then put a small percentage of that into things like crypto or the risky kind of stuff that can really grow aggressively. But if you lose it, of course, it's not really crazy. Do you know what I mean? So this isn't necessarily financial advice, but this is stuff that I wish I knew before obviously making it, losing it all. That's the reason why I'm so passionate about making videos about this and also helping people on the journey as I'm growing and now I'm actually doing it. I have the experience so I can actually teach people how to actually get it. I'm working with like a few clients right now and we're closing a lot of clients, etc. So I'm happy about that. But if that's of interest, if you guys want to actually join me in that journey, literally go to the links down below. You can either book a call or just hit me up on Instagram. You know what I mean? I try not to push it too much on this channel. I have another channel that's dedicated 100% to that. But outside of that, my people, appreciate you getting to the end of the video. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, and make sure to subscribe, because on this channel, we go through different things, man. We talk about financial literacy. We talk about, serious topics like what's going on in our community and how we can change it. We talk about creativity and music. We talk about all sorts of things that I'm just interested in. Do you get it? So as we grow the community, as we grow the bag chasers that also don't mind actually being into entertainment, I believe this channel is going to grow to the moon. So I'll make sure to see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.